Da, 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 da.
Because of the way the light is on your face in this new lighting scheme, I had
Yeah.
changed the actual color of your name up there to be black, but also it looks like the sides of your head are shaved when you turn just right. See?
Oh yeah, I like that.
It's interesting. Well, hello, fellow humans. It is time for the Q&A. This
Q&A day,
this has
Q&A
become
day.
this has become one of my favorite things. I love Q&A. Should have probably adjusted my camera before we started this, and I don't
Looks like
understand.
it's on a jib. Looks.
I was moving my whole laptop.
Yeah.
All right, so Q&A day. Let's start with my favorite type of question, a trivia question.
Hey, that's a good idea. We'll remind folks, though, that liking, commenting, and stuff like that, subscribing, of course, and hitting the post notification bell are all ways you help our channel grow. And we'll get into channel growth in a minute. But first, it's time for Trivia with Dave.
I just realized I forgot to, my camera was weird, so I forgot to put my laptop on the riser I usually put it on. So I'll just, do it. It's the Q&A day. Look behind the curtain.
That's fine. How's Neelix?
What's he doing? He's very active.
Yeah. Right up on it. I see it. Yeah.
He's in his customary napping spot.
I tell you what, that picture I saw of you and he in the car, he has got the best deadpan expression I've ever seen.
He does like to deadpan, I will say. All right, what do we got?
It just screams, I am totally not impressed with anything that's happening right now.
He looks at me like that a lot, like a whole lot.
All right, sorry about the cough there. All right, little angel, it's your turn to pass out refreshments in heaven's dead artist's wing.
Lovely.
Based on his paintings, which candy would George Seurat prefer?
I don't even know who that is.
Well, then you're in trouble.
Excellent.
Seurat invented pointillism, a technique of painting with very small strokes, dots, or skittles.
At least I know what pointillism is, so I got something there.
Yeah. So?
Oh, so what am I handing him out?
Well, if I give you the choices now, you're going to know immediately.
Is it nerds?
Nope.
Because that would make a lot of sense, right? Little tiny dots. Nerds.
Okay.
I mean, I guess then you could go like M&Ms or Skittles or, any of those smaller round things that you could do a pointillism painting with.
What about the candy that comes on register tape?
The candy that comes on register tape? I don't even think I know what that is.
What? Well, you know what? That little window you left available to yourself is going to come in handy right now as you look up dots.
Dots?
Dots candy.
Dots
It's basically register tape with candy stamped on it.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh, not if I search dots. This is what comes up when I search dots.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's not called dots, the thing I thought it was. All right, well, that's the answer according to this because the guy paints in dots. So that would be the answer. But what is the candy I'm thinking of then?
I got nothing. I don't know what candy that comes on register tapes. I am not, I freely admit, a huge candy person in general. If I want a sweet thing, I just want a piece of chocolate in some way, shape, or form. I'm not a huge like fruit candy or hard candy or any of that. So I don't know a ton of them because it's not my jam.
It was called Candy Dots. I thought it was called Dots. Look up Candy Dots Doshers. Doschers. Doshers.
Candy Dots Doshers. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. That does look vaguely familiar.
What's fun with that as a kid is, you would just put the tape up to your mouth and just take a piece of the dot, the candy off. Often with a good chunk of paper with it.
don't think that's how that's supposed to work, but all right.
I mean, there's no way of avoiding it. The paper comes up. The thing is almost like glued. It's like when the candy is still like a sugary glop, it is dropped on the paper. It's going to adhere to the paper. It's just a matter of how much paper are you willing to ingest.
I guess your answer was a decent amount.
Yeah. Like if I pulled it off with my hand and there was literally like a 1-inch flag of paper, I would pull that off. But if you look at the underside, there's paper on that sucker. I ate a lot of paper. That was one of my favorite candies as a youngster.
You know what? A lot of you about you makes more sense now.
Okay. Well, you know what? It gets worse. And you know what? And this may be the beginning of my neurological issues. One thing that I used to do as a kid was I would take Christmas tree tinsel off the tree and I would put it in my mouth and suck on it.
That's not good.
It's not good for two reasons, one of which you're probably unaware.
Was it made of lead?
It was made of lead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what was my assumption.
Yeah. I mean, they stopped making lead tinsel sometime in the 50s or 60s. But then from then on it was plastic. But my parents knew when they stopped it, it would be hard to get, obviously. So from the time they outlawed it, they went to the local stores and bought up all the lead tinsel they could find. And at the end of every Christmas, they literally piece by piece take the tinsel off the tree and wrap it back up. And we keep using it until it literally crumbles apart.
That's ridiculous. And
I do the same thing. I still have lead tinsel on my Christmas tree every year. I haven't sucked on it, though, in weeks. So...
Well, Christmas season is on the way, so good news for you.
I can't wait to get the lead tinsel out, man. I almost want to put some in my mouth and wonder what I enjoyed about it back then. Man, what's the worst that could happen at this point? I'm already, you know?
Yeah, over a dozen years, and you still surprise me, John.
That's the special thing about our relationship, Dave.
All right, Q&A day. What do we got?
Q&A day. Well, let's begin with some stuff. Let's begin with some house cleaning. Blockages, Dave. Blockages are bad no matter where they come or where they don't come. So we got blockages. Dream Theater, blocked.
Oh, we can't even put up our Dream Theater video?
We cannot put up our Dream Theater at all.
Which one?
Pull Me Under.
Oh, I think we bad talked it anyway.
Well, we didn't bad talk the song. We loved the song.
Yeah, that is true.
We may have been a little hard on the singer.
Yeah, the singer was let's just say that there was a blockage in that song.
There was a blockage.
A weak link in the chain, if you will, and it was the singer.
But that don't disturb the people. That's not. We're not saying he's not a good singer.
No,
I am not saying he's not a good singer. He is a great operatic voice style, musical theater style, Ronnie James Dio style singer. I just don't like that style of singer. But it doesn't stop me from listening to Dream Theater.
No, and it was very enjoyable. We'll I don't know, we'll have to just find another platform at some point to drop all of our This Got Blocked videos on.
During the Halloween run, we were going to be showing a Beatles video for the benefit of Mr. Kite. Blocked.
Man, that video made me look like a genius too. So now
I know it did. Yeah. More recently, Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Blocked.
Really?
Yeah. And that one blows my mind because I quickly did a search. I'm like, I know I've seen other reactioners do this song. And I looked, and just on my first page of results, I found 10 different reactioners that do the exact same video we used. And they're on. So obviously, that one being, both Dream Theater and the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, those I have submitted requests for review. So they have 30 days to respond. And if they don't respond, we'll put it up. If they do respond and say, okay, you're right, you can show it, then we'll put it up. If they say no, it stays in Blockland. It stays there.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. What a wonderful system this is.
It's a great, terrible system. So, that brings me to like Patreon, or I've even heard whisperings of another service that some of the YouTubers, the reactioneers, I like to call them, are going to. But we've only got how many? 1,600, 1,700 subscribers. I don't think we could afford to move to another platform and have it benefit. You know what I mean?
It'll be a thing we deal with in the future. I'm not really that concerned about it right now.
Down the road. We need more subs to do that. But you know what's the most important thing is our friendship, Dave, and that we continue to have fun together, even if our videos get blocked.
Like I always said, this channel ends the moment it's not fun, and still fun. Oh, you're right there.
I just had to. My voice is getting real scratchy. Real scratchy.
I hear it.
Yeah, I just had to cough, but it didn't help much.
Oh, man.
Okay, let's go to the next thing. Let me just talk softly. Not so excited. So the next topic I've come up with, Dave, and this relates to everything else kind of in a way, is the albums that are lost in limbo.
There are albums lost. You know what? That makes sense. There are movies that are lost in limbo that I know about.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same reason. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like Dogma I love that movie. It's so great. And it was owned by the Weinstein Corporation, and it was not licensed to anyone else. And then obviously that corporation, rightfully so, imploded. And nobody owns the rights right now. So you can't stream it anywhere legally. Like, you literally cannot legally pay someone to stream it, nor can you buy anything other than a third-hand DVD. So it's always on YouTube, and it lasts on YouTube for the whole movie for a couple of months usually, and then someone takes it down, and then someone else puts it back up. So you can always find Dogma for free, the whole movie on YouTube, but like probably not that same person will have it up for more than a few months. So yeah, it happens. It's unfortunate. And I think I was having a discussion with one of my buddies back in the day, like pre-Netflix, or when Netflix was early and had very little content on it. We used to just, I guess I shouldn't officially admit this, but like we would just pirate stuff. And it's because you literally could not legally get this stuff. Like, there wasn't an avenue for you to legally stream these things.
Yeah, that's one of the places where I'm allowing gray area in my own life. Like, if it simply is unavailable, and no one apparently cares to make it available, well, phooey on them.
Yeah,
you know?
Like I will pay you for it, but if I can't, then it's on you.
Yeah. Well, some albums lost in limbo. I just did a real quick search. David Bowie put together a band called Tin Machine, and sometime between the first and the second album, their relationship with their label EMI, went south, and EMI dropped support. And so the second album, Tin Machine 2, good luck. I mean, I guess there are ways to get it. I guess, maybe you can buy an old copy on, eBay or something like that. And maybe you could even stream it from one of them pirate sites. But as far as legally being able to obtain it, good luck. Before Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham joined Fleetwood Mac, they had an album out called Buckingham Nicks. Not available, not reprinted in decades. Mysterious reasons. No one seems to know why. Just not available. Jimi Hendrix was involved in producing and playing some tracks on an album called Sunrise by a band called Heir Apparent, EIRE Apparent. So it sounds like an Irish rock band or whatever.
Yeah, because I thought air was spelled with an H at the beginning.
It's a play on that, basically. EIRE, obviously referring to Irish, Ireland, that kind of thing. So Jimi Hendrix is on it. He produced it. Good luck. You might be able to find a burned copy for $20 on eBay, but so that stuff happens. Well, it happened to Yes, Dave.
Really?
It did. Yeah. They had, let me give you the background. So their 14th studio album came out in March of 1994. It's called Talk. It was a top 40. It hit the top 40 album charts in 5 different countries. And it was the final studio album to feature Trevor Rabin, that kind of youngish guitar guy, and Tony Kaye, who was their original keyboardist who left and then came back in the 80s. So following this tour called the Union Tour, which is interesting in itself, in the Union Tour, you had John Anderson sharing vocal duties with Trevor Rabin. You had both Yes drummers, Bill Bruford and Alan White. You had two of Yes's three guitar players, Steve Howe and Trevor Rabin. Peter Banks, not to be seen. You had two of the band's four keyboard players, Rick Wakeman and Tony Kaye, and they all toured together as one outfit. They called it the Union Tour, and they put out a record called Union, which was horrible.
Wow! All right.
It was an album done by committee, and it's horrible. Rick Wakeman, instead of calling it Union, he calls it Onion because it makes him cry.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. In fact, he said that he received his copy as he was entering a limousine to get taken to an airport or something like that. And when he finished listening to it, he opened the window and threw it out the window.
Well, that's littering, first of all. But
yeah.
But I get it.
Or maybe it's providing bad music to the homeless. I don't know what you want to call it. So after
that's just cruelty, though.
Yeah, yeah.
They deserve better. Because, like, if you don't even get to live indoors, you should at least have good music. Like, it's just cruelty to add to suffering.
Well, there's one great song on the album. There's one okay song on the album. And then the rest of it is like bits and moments of genius mixed with mud.
Wow.
It's really bad. I mean, really bad. The second side, honestly, if it was a vinyl record, I would suggest you take some, some duct tape and just make sure you never listen to that side of the record.
All right.
And I'm a Yes freak.
I know. These are strong words from a Yes freak.
They are. So after Yes completed the Union Tour in 1992, an Atlantic Records executive, Phil Carson, had left Atlantic and started his new independent label called Victory Records. And he approached, Trevor Rabin and said, I want you guys with the 80s lineup, which has been the most financially successful lineup, I want you guys to do a record on my label. Rabin said, okie dokie, sounds good. And unlike the first two records of the 80s, well, the 90125 with Owner of a Lonely Heart and all that stuff, and another album which you're probably completely unfamiliar with called Big Generator, this is the first time that Rabin actually invited John Anderson to be a part of the writing process at the start.
Mm.
And the reason they did that is because Anderson was pretty ticked off that he was never invited to the writing part, of putting the records together. Man. And they would bring him in to start recording stuff, and he would make some changes, some alterations. But at that point, the songs were the songs, So anyway, John Anderson was involved in the early part. Let me tell you something. I love the album. It isn't old Yes, it's new Yes, and I'm okay with there being a new Yes, just like Rush fans are okay with there being a new Rush, right? Mm-hmm. I thought the album was fantastic, and went to the tour, and it was a fantastic tour. I saw them in Atlanta. It was beautiful, wonderful show, fantastic. Just loved it. Tony Kaye only hit clinkers half the time instead of all the time. Sorry, I don't like Tony Kaye.
I see that.
That's why I never bought a sniper rifle, because I would have been in jail by now for Tony Kaye.
Oh man. I like that you just assume you would be a good shot instantly. Like that's what's holding you back is the ownership of the gun, not your complete and utter lack of skill and training.
Dave, it's about the passion, and I wanted the man dead. So anyway, just as they get the first two singles out and they're just getting started with the international tour, Victory Music goes bankrupt. So killed the album's potential for success. That means they got no promotion money, no more singles would be distributed to radio. It didn't help that the album got some mixed reviews. But, like Rolling Stone never liked Yes to begin with. So, oh, really? They panned it? No kidding.
Shocker.
Yeah. So, that's kind of just a big background. And if you didn't get an original pressing of Talk, you were out of luck. And it never appeared in streaming services. It was just lost in limbo. Guess what I discovered this morning? It's on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. So this is a big announcement. I think this is kind of a, we have to be ahead of this because I haven't heard from anybody. Talk is now available on Spotify. Folks, I know some of you are excited about that. I know you are.
John,
let me tell you this.
The excitement in your voice when we got online this morning and you were just like, I got something to tell you, Dave, and you're not going to care, but I'm super excited. And I was like, dude, I'm excited for you. Like, you're glowing. See, look at you. Is that why you did the video? Because you're glowing?
Yeah, that's why I'm glowing in the video. Exactly. That's exactly right. So now here's a story. Yes actually performed a song from this album on The Late Show with David Letterman in 1994. So here's the story. Trevor Rabin says this, that Letterman was driving one day and a song from the album called The Calling came on the radio. He stopped his car and called his producer and said, get me that album.
Oh, wow.
And then shortly thereafter, the band was contacted to appear on the show.
This brand new album right here entitled Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the program, Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, neat story, neat little side story stuff, but that's all of that lost music and lost movies and all that talk about talk, all to say, it's on Spotify! And I'm particularly excited because I owned a copy of it and I gave it as a gift to somebody I knew who I felt needed to pick me up, and I knew that would do it.
And now you can listen to it again.
I haven't heard the album in 12 years.
So you last heard the album right around when we became friends.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I'm happy for you. I'm really happy for you. Have you listened to the whole thing again yet, or you just discovered it and will?
I listened to the whole thing this morning, and I'm going to keep listening to the whole thing over and over again and remember how cool it is. One of the songs was co-written by Roger Hodgson of Supertramp.
Oh. See, I feel like I just can't have the same level of excitement because it's just all lost on me, you know?
Yeah, I know. I get it.
But I'm glad it's back. It is very unfortunate that a lot of stuff like that happens. It's actually about to happen more. Did you know that? For instance, HBO. They wanted to make a bigger profit because that is what companies do, and it has nothing to do with art or anything else. So they just deleted a ton of the TV shows that were on HBO Max. And they did it so they could write them all off as a loss so that their taxes would be lower and their earnings would be higher. And other companies are now starting to look at that and going, ooh, that's smart. I can make next quarter's profits look slightly better. So
that's about making the investors happy.
Oh, absolutely. Because if you have a streaming service, like if you want more people to join your streaming service, you want to offer as broader content as possible, right? So this is literally the most short-sighted thing you could possibly do is start deleting content. But they are. And I think...
But venture capitalists are all like, yes.
But if you're a shareholder, you're thrilled. And so I think that is going to become more common. And as it does, I think all they're doing is encouraging piracy. And I think the breadth of streaming services out there, the fact that now you have to have a subscription to 19 different places to watch various things. I think there was a golden age when you make content easily accessible and easily affordable, you destroy piracy because it's more work, because it's not worth it. If I can pay $10 a month and I can watch pretty much anything I want, here's my $10. But if you start to make it more and more annoying and complex, you are once again starting to encourage piracy. And I'm not personally promoting it officially, but I am saying we are now seeing a return to making it simpler and easier to pirate content than it is to give you money to watch it, large companies. So just floating the concept out there.
It amazes me. You're telling me that the producers of Creative Works are short-sighted.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like corporate profits are all that matters. Not let's get creative content.
let's get on to viewer mail.
Viewer mail.
Viewer mail. Let's go back to the song. I wouldn't want to be like you. Now here, I'm going to test you. I'll give you the song. You tell me the artist.
Oh, dang it. I wouldn't want to be like you. It's that song. I only want to be with you. No, I know that's wrong. it's completely wrong. I was messing with you. I don't remember. I'm terrible.
Based
at this.
on Isaac Asimov's I, Robot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was Rush.
Alan Parsons Project. I should have done this.
Oh yeah, the Alan Parsons Project.
I always do that thing. The Alan Parsons.
I think part of my problem is like due to time constraints, we record like 5 or 6 videos in a row, and so then they all blend together in my brain because they all happen to back.
Well, you have to. What did I tell you? Wash your palate, Dave. Wash your palate. Wash your palate. Trump RDR2, one of our regular responders and usually quite thoughtful and informative, throws some shade at Wouldn't Want to Be Like You. He says, this song feels thrown together to me. There's nothing complex or profound about it. Background dance beat for disco dorks.
First of all, I'd like to react to the alliteration, and then it's that I love it.
Good.
I'm always a sucker for a good alliteration. Second of all, now I appreciate that description alone because now you've cemented which song that was in my brain, and so now I'm playing it back, and so I appreciate that.
I don't want to be like
you. Yeah. And I have to point out that it wasn't a completed work; like it was just a project. So,
yeah, that's nice, Dave. Blue Jazz, the insulter in chief, also wanted to chime in on "I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You" with loves me some nerd rock. That's what he called it.
That's a pretty
Nerd
apt
rock.
description. Yeah,
he says Alan Parsons Project got similar criticisms to Boston for being a heavily produced studio band. Is it true they didn't play live shows until the 90s? I do not know the answer to that question. I know that I never heard of an Alan Parsons Project tour until well into the 2000s. So, could be. Then he gives us a haiku.
Ooh. Yes, please.
SPF 1 billion, midnight dumpster dive, under magical full moon, Dave still needs sunscreen.
That's why I take my beach walks at night, though.
Yes.
Because that way I only get a light burn from the moonlight.
Right. A light burn from the reflection of the sun.
Yeah, when the moon reflects it, I have to wear less sunscreen.
You know how I got excited about the Talk album on Spotify? When Dave heard there was going to be a lunar eclipse, he felt, I'm safe. I can go out.
Yeah, finally. It's my time.
Boy in the bubble. All right, let's go to a lot of discussion on Analog Kid.
I liked that one. That was a good song.
Lots of talk on that one. So, Rock, R-O-K-K, Crin, just on its uniqueness, is up for grabs for the award for best screen name here.
Rock Crin.
Rock Crin, R-O-K-K-K-R-I-N-N, says the kid pulls down his hat so he can't see the hawk flying free while he's trapped. At least that's how I've always felt.
That is actually a really interesting take. I could totally see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Your suggestion, I think, was that he was trying to ignore his mom or whatever, calling him back to reality.
Yeah. That's how I took it. But I mean, that also makes perfect sense to me. I am behind that as an interpretation. And in fact, honestly, I think I like that better. That makes a lot of sense. That he's, because obviously pulling a hat down wouldn't stop hearing. But the hawk is flying over top, and he's just like, man, I want to be free. And that also, I think, speaks a lot to human nature. I have absolutely seen a bird how many times and just thought, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I could just spread my arms and fly over that ocean and just see what there is to see. Like the freedom that a bird naturally represents is beautiful. And so to be upset about the representation of that freedom, the hawk just soaring, doesn't have to go to work, doesn't have to go to school. Yeah, I like that more than what I said.
Spoiler alert, though. I mean, they're just looking for munchies. That's all they do.
Yeah, well, sure. But like they're free to do it.
They're free to have survival instinct. Okay, sure.
Well, I think it's also just a little more fun than when I'm swooping into the pantry, poking around for some crackers
Campbell's
for my
soup.
cheese.
Yummy. Give me some of that Campbell's mushroom soup that comes out looking like wallpaper paste.
Oh, no, thank you.
I actually like that soup a lot. So this is my endorsement of the regular old cheap red and white can Campbell's mushroom soup.
I don't care for mushrooms in general. Keep fungus away from me.
Roy Bond, talk to your feet. Roy Bond says, I have always interpreted the analog kid as having a direct analog connection to the world, to nature, to feelings, to phenomena, which the digital man lacks. A contrast along the lines of Blake's innocence versus experience, which comes up again later in the Peart canon. The Peart canon.
Well, it makes sense. Now having read Ghost Rider, and I don't know when our review is going to come out of that. It's got to be a nightmare for you to edit. I apologize for that. But whenever that comes out, one of the things I learned from that book is that he spent a lot of time hiking and bird watching.
Mm-hmm.
And so it actually does make a lot of sense. He did take his connection with the outdoors very seriously. So it makes sense that it is a theme that he would revisit in his lyrics quite regularly.
Okay. Screen name CW says, the line, too many hands on my time, was Neil's play on Styx's song, Too Much Time on My Hands, released a year prior.
Oh, that's neat. And a reference I obviously would never have picked up. I
don't even know
cool.
that you know that song. Do you know that song,
Nope.
Too Much Time on My Hands?
Nope.
Well, we may have to do that. All right. Then Mark says, great reflection. And how do you get just Mark? How are you the first Mark ever on YouTube?
Maybe.
How is your screen name Mark?
Maybe it's a 25-year-old account or whatever.
Like 1873? How did you get Mark?
It's
Anyway.
just impressive.
Mark says, great reflection on adolescence, boy on cusp of youth and young adult, the desires for the simple, familiar, and pull of new and unknown, vague sensation in his restless heart, reflected in physical world, moved my building and I, city, adult, and autumn, woods, and winter skies, rural, familiar, simple, not responding to his mom, pulling away a bit to grapple with these feelings, already senses he's moving away from simple, familiar to the wider, more complex, unknown adult world. You know what we have?
Intelligent viewers.
We have intelligent viewers. Peart would be on the beach quietly thinking with Dave is how he ends that part.
That's true. We would be sitting 15 feet apart, and we would be not and we would be not talking, and we would be best friends.
And if you tried to make eye contact with him, he'd throw sand at you.
Fair. I wouldn't try though.
No.
Also, I wouldn't recognize him most likely.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I come to this conclusion a lot, especially when we get into other songs like The Stroke and things like that. We have a very intelligent audience. We really do. So let's move on to Blue Jazz, the insulter in chief. After a lengthy but perceptive song description, which I'm not going to read here, he did a great job as well. But we only have half the day. Even if you were a giant ginger midget like Dave, whose face would force a train onto a dirt road, there is someone out there for you. Go analog for a while, he said. Blue Jazz has really taken it as a mission, really.
I love every second of it.
Yeah. I'm going to have to use that one a few more times.
I'm going to need a compilation of the best of Blue Jazz is what I'm going to call that competition.
Part 1. Quentin Miller says,
I want wait. I need to side note this. Every week after we record these Q&As, I always tell my wife all of the insults that I got, and we laugh and laugh together. And I think it's extra funny because she chose this.
She chose you.
Yeah, she chose this.
She chose this.
It's like a double joke to me.
Yes. Man. Hope you guys stay together. It's going to be a rough divorce. And this is what other people think of Dave.
Oh, go on.
All right. Quentin Miller says, Dave, being a true literalist, is probably using the original meaning of fan as in fanatic. You said you're not technically, if I asked you, do you consider yourself a fan of Rush? And you wouldn't accept that moniker. You remember? By most people's meaning of the word fan, I bet he probably is. Great reaction as usual.
Sure, I could see that. I think oftentimes when I think fan, I think of someone who's John, who has been to see Rush 24 times, who has a bunch of Rush t-shirts, who can quote nearly every line of nearly every song. And so, like when I think of that as a fan, when I put a fan in that box, then I don't fit in that box. But from a position of, oh yeah, I really like Rush. If someone puts Rush on, I'll go, ooh, I've heard this song before. It's Rush. I like Rush. So if that is the box that a fan fits in, then 100% yes, I would be a fan of Rush.
I think that is a better description of what a fan is. I'm what you might call a super fan.
Okay, I'll accept that.
And there's a level beyond me called what I would call an Uber fan. And you get any further than that, and you should be locked up. But I'm
there are levels.
There's no doubt I'm a super fan of Rush, of Genesis. Not much else would I consider myself a super fan of. And I'm just a fan of the rest.
Okay. Yeah, I will accept that.
Okay. In the same vein, MDU 2112 says, regardless of one's Rush lore, if the thought of Rush makes you tingle and has your heartbeat faster, you're a Rush fan.
It gives me the tinglies. Rush gives me the tinglies.
Rush gets you Twitter-pated.
Yeah, I will absolutely accept all of this. Like when when we get to a day and you're like, hey, the next song we're going to do is a Rush song, I am always excited. So yes, that is correct. I guess I'm a Rush fan.
You are. Alan D says, oh no, someone has stolen the B-52 space modulator. I'm hoping you can enlighten me on this one.
Oh no, man, I'm trying to think through that song.
I have no idea what Alan.
Were there spacey noises in that song?
No.
I would have to go give it a re-listen.
Yeah, he's got me stymied on that one.
Because I would think he would be referencing B-52s the band.
Right. Well, okay. I wouldn't think so, but it might be like a movie reference or something. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is.
It might be that I don't get, and I'm upset that I don't get it. And if it's a sci-fi movie reference, I'm doubly upset that I don't get it.
Well, there's tons of sci-fi. I'm sure you haven't seen the old stuff.
Oh, yeah. There's so much out there.
Where the rocket ship, you can see the strings as it kind of goes through.
Oh, man. Have you ever seen any of, was it Gene Autry and the Singing Cowboy? I think that might have been it. It was an old Western where they discovered on this ranch that there was a tunnel leading down underground, and there was this whole advanced civilization living underground, and they had like robots and all of this stuff. And it was
a cowboy movie?
Yeah, but it was like cowboys. They were cowboys. And man, I had it on DVD forever ago, and I watched every episode. And these episodes are like, 12 minutes long, and 7 minutes of that is the intro and the outro and the credits. And they're those quick like serial things. But I watched all that. So I've seen
them in between double headers, not double headers, double features.
Well, so I've seen a ton of like really weird old sci-fi, actually. But I mean, there's so much out there. I'm sure there is. For sure have not seen all of it.
Buck Rogers, for one. That's crazy stuff.
Love me some Buck Rogers. It was good.
Gina Marandino got a good kick out of me telling you to buckle up right before the lead guitar got smoking on Analog Kid.
That was a good buckle up, though, because it did get smoking.
Yeah, she wrote buckle up, 3 exclamation points, 2 wide smiley faces, laughy faces with squinched eyes. And she says something that should be said before any Rush song plays.
I like that we're moving toward like ancient Egypt again. We're just speaking in hieroglyphics again. Like I want to know in the future if some civilization finds us and they're like, okay, so we've deciphered most of the Earth's languages. There's still one we can't get. What does this mean?
Yeah. Amy Perry, which note, 2 females commenting on one of our Rush songs.
Well, Rush is dope. It doesn't matter who you are. Rush is just dope.
I agree, but I've been to a lot of their shows. If you needed to find a female to save your life, bye-bye.
No girls at Rush shows.
Not a lot.
No girls at Rush shows.
Not a lot. Not a lot of girls at Yes shows until the Owner of a Lonely Heart came out. Amy Perry says, "No hate, just a bit confused here by your take on the meaning of this song." And this is me she's directing this to, and she is absolutely right. Nonfiction means writings based on fact, real events, or real people. Fiction means writings based on imaginary events or imaginary people.
That is all a very true statement.
And that's a very true statement, and I know that darn well. I think I learned that somewhere around 3rd grade. I don't know. I learned those words and their meanings a long time ago, and I usually use them appropriately. But my response in that video was dead wrong. When you read Neil's first attempt at nonfiction, which is what I said what you just saw there was a story made up. I was backwards with it.
I didn't even catch it either. So in both of our faces,
all the other stories were apparently the ones that were made up, and this is the first one that was truly about him. So I screwed that up, and Amy, wait a minute, a woman pointed out I screwed up. Yeah, that's about right.
That's not true, John. I point out that you screw up all the time.
Dave, you're a woman. Thank you, Amy.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you should.
Women are great.
You're there. My take on his words is this is the first time he had the comments to write about himself, true life events. Very, very true. I replied to that. Good point. I got confused. I even have a misspelling. I even have a typo in there. I thought all of Neil's writings were about self, and this was his first fiction. Though I used the wrong term, turns out I had it backwards. That's why I'm John Dope. Jay Tyler says, a lot of comments on this. Hey guys, as a fan of Rush, yes, Jethro Tull. Dave, I listen to these as inspiration for my D&D game. I know you mentioned you play. Love your vids.
I never thought about it like that. That's actually kind of a neat thought.
Because you create the D&D scenarios. So
I homebrew all my worlds. In fact, both of the campaigns that I run, and this whole comment now is for one person. All of the campaigns that I run are in the same homebrew world that I've created. And so, anything that I create for either party now exists permanently in the world. And so I've actually created towns that the other party has stumbled across in their journeys, which is a lot of fun for me and a little less work for me. So it's fun to have a cohesive world building moment. And I think that actually makes a lot of sense. I might start putting on some interesting progressive stuff in the background while I world build. Are you sharpening a pencil? Is that what's going on right now?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had some things to do while you were going on and on about Dungeons and Dragons. I thought it was time to sharpen that pencil. It was getting kind of dull.
Are you sharpening it to be ready for your player character sheet?
I am. Not. Okay, Trump RDR2 on his first double dip of the day says, what a great album. The conversion of continuous time and value, analog signals, to discrete time and value, digital signals, through quantization. Nerdy to the third power.
This is very nerdy, but as am I, so I'm totally good with it.
Palimpsest Prod says, next, Digital Man, then New World Man. If you want short songs, listen to the Ramones.
All right, yeah. I do like the Ramones, too. The Ramones does do a cover of a Beatles song I really like.
They do a cover of a lot of songs. They're cover specialists. Sid Vicious and what was his band called? Yeah. It'll come to me. Anyway, so that's it for Analog Kid. Anything to add to that, Dave? There was a lot of comments on Analog Kid.
No, that was an excellent song, and I think we are going to do New World. You mentioned it, New World Man.
Yeah, we're going to be doing New World Man.
Yeah. I was going to say you've mentioned it before to me that we were going to do that shortly. So, we've done Digital Man. Did we not release it yet?
Yeah, they're both out now.
Okay, sometimes I forget what's done and what's out.
Digital Man came out Monday.
Okay, gotcha.
On to In Old England Town.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we've already done a handful of comments from that one. This is probably going to be the last one because that one's starting to age a little bit. Chronomat. Good name.
I do like that.
Chrono, and then Matt, Matt, all caps.
Like a time? Chrono like time.
Yeah, Chrono like time, or Chronos, I think it would be officially, but Chronomat, I like it. He says, "Oh, you were lamenting the singing in Old England Town, that you loved the instrumental part of it. You wished it was an instrumental song. And here I go again. I'm going to give you the basic theme. Dana, 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 Dana. Great song. Anyway,
it was Jaws. The basic theme was Jaws.
It was pre-Jaws. Don't forget that." He says that the singing that you don't like from Jeff Lynne in that song is the same style, that same weird reverbery, echoey thing he was doing as when he was singing in The Move, which is enlightening to me because I don't think I knew Jeff Lynne was in The Move. So I'm going to be digging up The Move and see if there's anything worth looking at in there. And someone else, and I just thought of this. Oh, someone else, I can't remember who, and I didn't type it in, said that there is an instrumental version of that song available.
Okay. I might have to just pull that up then.
Yeah, definitely. So that's the what's left of Old England Town for now. Now we move up to Sorrow. And Sorrow was by who, Dave?
Wasn't Sorrow then next of the Fear series by Rush?
Nope.
Boy, what am
Sorrow
I thinking of?
Was Pink Floyd's Pulse. We saw the live version of that with the big light spectacle.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because we also just did, I think it might not be out yet. We also just did another of the Fear series by Rush. I think yesterday we recorded that.
Yes, we did. And that will be coming out relatively soon.
Okay, that's not out yet.
Nope. Sci-Fi Monkey says, of your Sorrow Pink Floyd Pulse, the one thing that the video cannot capture, and even the best sound system recreate, is the insane vibrations that pass through your body during the opening and ending guitar solo in the live show.
See, seriously? And that is one of the things I've lamented many times, is that I'll never get to see quite some of these things live, and you can't get the video, especially with headphones. Like I just can't. That's unfortunately how it works.
He echoes my sentiment on the show. He says, seriously, it is one of the best shows I've attended in 50 years of concert going, and is thankfully beautifully recorded for posterity. If only I could get back the physical feeling as well, it would be perfect. Yeah, the first time, I remember first going to shows, and I remember an almost out-of-body experience, literally. Like, floating and just like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm going to see this band, and goosebumps nonstop. And they haven't even played a note, and that's not, I'm not a person who likes to get overly, saturated with alcohol. I didn't ever smoke anything prior to shows I cared about. Iron Maiden, maybe. Van Halen. Well, I got a Van Halen story.
We'll have to save the Van Halen stories for when we do a Van Halen.
Yeah. Oh, man. We'll have to save. Remind me, I have a Van Halen concert story. But as far as, getting that feeling, it's tough to reproduce. But I tell you what, and Dave knows this, I have an outdoor theater. And I have enough sound gear to put a pretty good hurting on your gut. And every summer I pull out the old Pink Floyd Pulse and I watch it beginning to end. And really, honestly, the only thing missing is more people.
Well, I'll show up next time, but it'll just be me. 6 feet apart.
6 feet apart?
Don't make eye contact.
I'll try not to. Okay. So yeah, maybe we'll have to do that. Maybe we'll have to plan a Pink Floyd Pulse party and see if we can get some interest in. Because I love showing this stuff to people. I love playing this stuff for people, and to use my gear in this manner, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
I'm sure we get some interest.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see what happens over time. Leave my girl alone. We're back to Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray. I had a take on that you said was suspicious, or maybe not accurate.
Well, you kept thinking he was talking about his little girl, his daughter.
Well, in my defense, he said the term "little girl,"
which
which
is
certainly sounds like a daughter to me.
it was a popular term to describe a girlfriend or even a wife. They used to call the wife the little woman. Hey, you going to bring the little woman along?
Yeah, but the little woman and the little girl are very different terms to me.
Well, it's a little girl before you marry her.
I guess in my lifetime, the term "little girl" has only ever described a daughter, that is, or a child of some sort. So, like in my world, that is just what that means.
But that's not what Robert Harper is commenting about on the videos.
Ooh, go on.
He's got something much more important to say.
Hmm.
John is correct. Pickles don't belong on chicken sandwiches.
You know what?
And butter pickles are way better than dill.
Butter pickles are better than dill?
Bam!
John is so wrong.
No. Robert Harper and I are correct.
Well,
my correctness has just been verified by a fellow with a legitimate name, Robert Harper.
I only have one real problem, John, and it's that I have to learn how to ban people. And that's not...
No! Can't do that.
For a take like that, look, sir, you may insult me all you want, but you do not insult a dill pickle on a chicken sandwich. That is my line. That is my very arbitrary line.
All right, we'll end with the stroke.
Oh, well, don't we usually? This is a problem with that song. Like, I can't not make jerking it jokes. And it's,
you know
like,
what?
The whole song is one.
Well, you know, my favorite role in volleyball is setting for someone else. It's my favorite role in volleyball. And there's some people you can set for, and some people you have to be more careful about. I know I can set for you, and you down their throats with that. Good job. But Dave, I have bad news.
Oh, go on.
I have been caught unawares, and we are both proven wrong.
I mean, this isn't new to me. Go on.
Trump, RDR2, is one of dozen people. Trump, he says it succinctly, quickly, and then I'll get on to what other people said. Trump says, wrong and wronger.
Ooh, yes. Go on. The fact that he started with a buzzer makes me instantly in.
Yeah. It's not about playing tug of war with Cyclops. And he posts a part of an article from the Baltimore Sun, June 11th, 1991. And this is a quote from the songwriter, one Billy Squire. I take songwriting very seriously, and I wouldn't want anything I do to be construed as frivolous or mundane, he insisted. Take The Stroke, for instance. Plenty of people saw sexual connotations in that song, but to me, it was about what goes on in the business world. I mean, I'm happy if people get something sexual out of it, but that was not its original intent or purpose. I'm like, business world? Jeff Hoff then comments, I have seen a lot of people believe this song is actually about the music industry. I saw one person write, the song is about the music business and how it treats its talent. How with the stroke of a pen, the musician signs their life away and becomes the property of the record label. They promise them the big break. They get their music everywhere, spread your ear pollution, and promise fame and fortune. However, when the hits dry up, the label drops you. When you found you've bled me, slip on by, is the line. I always assumed it was masturbation until I heard that interpretation. I tend to buy the music industry version more now. To which B40B40 replies, the song is about music execs stroking artists' ego and dealing with all the snakes in the music business. Billy has said this in many interviews. Billy got Queen's producer called Mac to produce the album and told him he wanted the chorus to sound like, Dave, a rowing team.
Oh, okay. So I'm at least got some of that right.
Yeah, you got some of that right. This album comes from the song comes from the album Don't Say No, and it's one of the greatest in rock history, according to B40B40, who apparently stutters. Then finally, I just want to say that amongst the people Anconia's Place, Argento 2665, Jeff Warren, Jason Williams, countless others, all had the same take on that meaning of that song.
Look, You learn something new every day, and I learn a lot of new things since doing this channel, and I'll just keep learning. That is very interesting. I definitely didn't know before, and I shot my wad on thinking about what the song was about.
You made a mess of things, Dave.
But apparently I was wrong, and I'm fine with that. But
You know what I think is cool is that this is the first time I've ever, it's reverse of the normal. Like normally I'm like, oh, I like Tiny Dancer by Elton John. And then 40 years later, somebody says, oh, that's about masturbation.
And this time you've always thought it was.
Always thought it was about big, and it turns out it's not.
Thank you for sharing. I love Q&A Day because I love hearing all of the fun comments out there. That's a lot of what this is really doing. So thank you so much. We will continue to check out your comments. And if you have any suggestions or corrections, please keep them coming because I definitely get stuff wrong. Definitely. And it won't stop.